we're going to talk a little bit about real estate today, and I prepared a couple of slides. One of the more interesting things that's happening in the market is all of a sudden we have 5G coming in, we have everybody working from home, and our data consumption, particularly in the Philippines, is booming. So a bunch of foreign data center operators are currently looking to invest in the country. I've got a list of at least 10 that are looking to come in within the next year. And right now, it's one of the newer kind of real estate categories, and it's largely run by the telco providers, the ePLDT, Globe, Converge, and we'll see roughly 50,000 square meters of rack space in this segment. Globe, PLDT, really the dominant players. Of course, they're across the Philippines and Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. One of the newest operators to enter the market was B Infotech, and they opened the country's largest carrier-neutral data center in Pasig, and it's around 20,000 square meters for their co-location services. And what's really driving this demand is increased digitalization, more fiber. In fact, I just recently got fiber to the home, and the addition of 5G. So as Filipinos become more tech savvy, consume more content like Netflix and YouTube, it's become a really attractive market for data center investments. And this is just a little glimpse of kind of what's happening. The majority of the data center space is in Metro Manila and will continue to be so. The largest operator is really ePLDT, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, B Infotech came in, and then you've got Globe kind of coming in third place. But we're going to see massive investments in this space over the next 2 to 3 years. I want to talk about the residential market a little bit. A lot of questions have come up. We finally started to see the prices come back. The market, the BSP's index has been up and down a couple times throughout the year. It went up 20%, it dropped 25%. It's now kind of stabilized. And we think it's really volatile because there's so few data points that the BSP happens to have. The high end and the luxury segments, they continue to dictate the market. They're still growing at a healthy kind of 1% quarter over quarter growth. The secondary market is what we really track. We try to track that the closest because that kind of tells you where the true market's at. And prices in the fringe areas pull down overall performance. The pre-selling and ready for occupancy is still one of the top performers. And this is going to be a reflection of where people are working. We've seen a lot of people move out of CBDs and move into the South or some other house and lot areas. And those prices have risen a lot faster than vertical condominiums have. Co-working foot traffic has finally kind of reached double-digit rates. And so a company may be fully leased out, like for example, KMC Solutions, we might be fully leased out, but 10 to 15% of the people were only coming in. And this is a bit concerning because the ground floor retail locators, it's really hard to run a coffee shop when the company above you only has 10 to 15% back in the office. So we're now at 20+%. Some locations were at 35, particularly outside, like in Cebu and up in Clark. So as BPOs slowly come back into to the office, less people are doing the work from home. We'll also see something around PEZA regulations, which are currently allowing 90% of companies to work from home, with 10% in that PEZA zone. Like foot traffic across all buildings, not just our own, is being watched very closely by developers to see if what happens with those renewal rates. What happens if a company has 5 floors or 2 floors? Are they going to renew both, or are they going to downsize and give back one? So Overall, we're really as an operator, we're really bullish, and we expect the hybrid model to be kind of the future of work. Um, we saw kind of a V-shaped recovery in our own business. It dropped kind of February of this year was really kind of the low point, and since then it's just been on a tear right back up. Some of our locations are exceeding 90% occupancy rates. Occupancy is different than foot traffic, so when you go in there, sometimes the sites can look a little quiet, but it is rented, and companies are using it. We've also, as KMC Solutions, we've also established KMC Flex, where we've partnered with Philippine resorts, and we allow our staff, clients, and members to work from hotels at discounted rates. We were kind of pioneers in this space. We saw a lot of people that were struggling with just being locked up in a city and wanting to get out and be have some sand between their toes. So we thought that this was really interesting concept, and a lot of our clients are calling us up and they want to book space for their teams of like 5 people. Some of them haven't even met each other since they started with the company, and some want to just go somewhere and work remotely while hanging out with their colleagues. So this has been pretty popular. And really what's happening with the office transactions, new leases are largely taken up by BPOs as the industry continues to expand due to accelerated digitization and globalization. E-commerce has led the office demand. Shopee, Lazada, all those guys are still growing, and they've taken up office space even if they're not using it, which is pretty interesting. The majority of these transactions are happening actually in Ortigas, followed shortly by BGC. The Bay Area is still seeing some activity. Quezon City, the fringe of Makati CBD. The C5 corridor has been a lot more quieter. The fringe of Ortigas has been a bit more quieter. Alabang's still hanging in there, but generally been pretty quiet. And Ilo's been actually one to watch. There's been a ton of office transactions in Ilo. We've been very active doing deals down there. And it's good to see that place really blow up. It shows very, very well. And it's just a different labor market, which is increasingly attractive. COVID-19 definitely has some effects on POGOs. We also see the new tax requirement. The tax requirement issue isn't so much a above the line tax. They can pay that. It's what happens with all the red tape and the bribes and shakedowns that happens to POGOs. That's why they also want to leave. It's just, it hasn't become profitable. They can't get Chinese employees in the country, and they're continuing to shed office space, sadly. So, and continue to leave the Bay Area and entertainment city. The last, my last slide is talking about the industrial sector. That's been a really interesting space for us. Warehousing has, been in the limelight. It's really popular due to all the e-commerce that's happening in the country. I think we've more than doubled our e-commerce sales in the last year, so it's just really on a tear. We've moved from just in time to just in case strategies as well. So companies are starting to warehouse a lot more items and not just bringing in last minute. Warehousing for 3PLs, which is third-party logistics, a lot of take up there. We're seeing cold storage increase. That's pretty fun. We did one of our first cold storage deals, and for a grocery chain. And also we're seeing, these vaccines have to be stored in very cool environments. The Philippines is seeing some benefits from the China Plus One strategy. We haven't seen a lot, but there are some manufacturers that are coming in here, light industrial, that are coming in here. They do make pretty sizable investments. They'll sign leases for 10 or 15 years. So that's really great to see for the country, and it's good for our labor market here. And the benefits of the Philippines is really location. we also have a great flag for exporting to countries like the United States versus say China, and we're part of ASEAN. So yeah, overall, the industrial sector is one of the limelights that for the country.